Now to our top talker. Today, New Mexico's district attorney announced charges related to the Rust movie set shooting that killed cinematographer Halyna Hutchins.
Actor and producer Alec Baldwin will be charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. The film's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, is also facing involuntary manslaughter charges. She was in charge of the weapons that were on that set.
You may remember Baldwin shot a prop gun on the set during rehearsals and hit Hutchins. A live round somehow made its way inside the gun, and that shot that was fired ended up being fatal. The district attorney says she will formally file the charges before the end of the month.
I know you have some questions about this. Our legal analyst, Stephanie Haney, has been looking into it and is with us now. This has been characterized as an accident, it seems, over and over again. So a lot of people might be sitting at home going, if this was an accident, how does that result to charges like this?
Sure, yeah, that is a great question, and it really does come down to the charge that he will be presented with. So in this case, Alec Baldwin will be charged with 2 different types of involuntary manslaughter for the death of Halyna Hutchins. Now, one would involve a firearm enhancement because a firearm was involved. The other doesn't. What this does is it lets the jury decide which count, if either of them, is more appropriate based on the evidence shown at trial. So when we break down the elements of involuntary manslaughter in New Mexico, that's what it comes down to, is what would the jury have to find in order to find that Alec Baldwin did this? So the elements would require them to find that Alec Baldwin committed the act. An act, in this case, could have been just raising the weapon and pulling that trigger. They would also have to find that he should have known of the danger involved in doing that. They would also have to find that he showed a willful disregard for the safety of Halyna Hutchins, and also that what he did caused her death. Now, when you take a look at those elements there, it's the should have known part and that willfully disregarding danger part that are key here. But the thing is there nowhere in that crime does it say that he has to meant to have shoot her, Jay and Christy. That's why this is involuntary manslaughter. You don't have to actually intend the result, but committing the act, if it can be proven that he had that willful disregard, if he should have known about that danger, would be enough for a conviction.
I'm sure that'll be a huge part of the prosecution in this case, is that he didn't have to have known or do this on purpose. But one thing that I find interesting is he did an interview with George Stephanopoulos, infamously, I guess you would say now. And in that interview, he insisted he never pulled a trigger. In the meantime, experts, firearm experts that know this weapon say it's impossible for this gun to have been discharged without someone physically pulling that trigger. Is that something you think he had back, doing that interview and going there specifically?
That is an interesting thing that we did see, and you might see that we have seen maybe a preview of what you can expect to see play out in this trial if it does go to trial. Again, the charges haven't officially been handed down yet. It is possible there could be some kind of a plea agreement, but really, it's legal defense 101 that once you're charged with something, you don't talk about it. Now, of course, he wasn't charged at that time, but there was certainly the thought of an investigation. So, you know, if you want to go back in time, I want to tell Alec Baldwin from a criminal defense perspective, don't talk. Of course, you want to say something in this tragic moment, the loss of a life, but the best thing to do from a legal perspective is to not say anything until these things play out.
He was playing things out in the court of public opinion and felt that he had to clean up his image and say something, but in doing so, he may have jeopardized his future in the court of law, and that's what we're going to keep our eyes on. Stephanie, thanks.
Thank you, Stephanie.